What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Ballin' with the Boys podcast. As you know, we're keeping it going, talking about the XFL as we are on week 6 now. Justin, let's talk about the first game that happened, which was the Sea Dragons versus the Guardians.
Yeah, so for anybody that may have thought that the Guardians was going to pull that one out, they didn't. The Seattle Sea Dragons won. It was 26 to 19 by the end of it, and it was a kicker's game.
Yeah, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, man. My notes are mostly going to be on the Guardians side as everybody knows, they lost, but I would say this was probably one of their best games, so most of my talking is going to be on the Guardians side. Like, Devin Darrington rushed for a 43-yard touchdown. Man, the way that run play it reminded me a lot of JT, the way he ran, because the dude was smart. He waited, found the hole, and bounced off a couple players and shot for the touchdown. I was like, you guys are getting it together, so hopefully you guys do end up winning a game, but keep picking it up.
Yeah, I got Devin Darrington in my notes too for the Guardian side of the ball because he had 7 carries for 82 yards. So that's more than 10 yards a carry right there. And then he had 2 touchdowns on the night as well. Other than that, though, I don't really have anything else to say about the Guardians besides they'll probably be 0-7 next week since they're going to be going against the Defenders.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Defenders, though, later.
Yep, for the Sea Dragons on their side of the ball, the reasons that I was saying it was a kicker's game because he got 4. He was 4 for 4 on his field goals, and he had a long kick up, I think, like 54 yards. Their rush game looked, Ben DiNucci was the rushing leader. Do what you will with that information.
Man, is it me or does it seem like the quarterbacks are just running now a lot more than what it seems like in the NFL? Like you wouldn't really see half the quarterbacks in the NFL to run as you do as in the XFL.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a lot more running in the XFL quarterbacks and the NFL quarterbacks. However, that has to do with, I think, what kind of quarterbacks are in the XFL, also like more younger quarterbacks and the experience and skill of their line a lot of times. I mean, if your line's not good, you're going to have to run somewhere.
I got you. One thing when you said it was a kicker's game, this isn't talking about field goals, but I don't know if you saw during a punt, the punt returner got the ball, started running to return it, and got rocked, dude. And oh my God, his helmet popped off. But luckily his teammate was there to grab the ball because he also fumbled. But he made up for the yards that the kick returner was not picking up. Yeah. And dude, I honestly thought the guy was not going to get up after that play.
It was a big hit. Definitely a hard one to look at when you're seeing it for the first time, on the screen, at least in the XFL, seeing how they handle that kind of situation at least. But yeah, I do remember that hit.
Right, and then another thing against the Sea Dragons was that, or not against the Sea. Well, there was a flag thrown. It was against the Sea Dragons, but everybody thought it was going to be against that hit. And I was thinking too. I was like, dude, that was like dang near helmet to helmet, or you just hit him so hard on the chest that his helmet popped off or something.
Yeah.
But no, a flag was thrown, and I guarantee you, everybody thought that it was against that hit.
Yeah.
Well, crazy thing is, it was only against the Sea Dragons with an illegal formation on a punt.
Yeah, they didn't even mind that hit. They didn't care.
No, they was like, this is XFL, bud. You're gonna have to get up, walk it off.
Yeah, no kidding. They're kind of playing blitz up in there right now.
There's been a lot of sketchy hits that I've seen lately. Like, they haven't called them. So I wonder if something was said where it's like, hey, this is XFL. We're going to play more extreme than the NFL. So I don't know. Like I said, my notes were more on Guardian side. Guardians, you put up another good fight. I mean, I feel like you guys are almost there to at least get one win. But yeah, sadly, now you are 0-6. But, keep fighting. Your team's starting to look better.
0-7 next week, but you might be 1-7 the week after that. We'll see.
Let's hop into this next game, though. The Battlehawks versus the Vipers.
Yeah, I mean, another standard night from McCarron. He's been looking like a really good quarterback, like we've been saying week in and week out. He hasn't really proven me wrong yet, I would say.
I feel like now that it's getting closer to the end of the season, he's had a few, upset games.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's like realizing, okay, it's crunch time. Let's go, and he's pulling it off.
Yeah, I mean, he's got like the anti Kirk Cousins vibes going on right now.
Yeah, where your team's you make it good enough to get to the playoffs.
He knows he needs to pull through, and
But can he do better than Kirk Cousins? And if they can't remember, they got only one round in playoffs.
This year, yeah.
Okay, well,
no, they didn't even make the playoffs, did they? I don't think they did. They might have.
I'm talking about the Battlehawks or XFL.
Oh, I see.
Is there only one?
Yep, I believe so.
Okay, well then, AJ McCarron, if you make it past your first round, then you're definitely better than Kirk Cousins because they don't make it past the first round.
So all you got to do is win a playoff game.
During that game though, the Battlehawks running back Durant, he got handed the ball during a play and he got hit sticked as well. That's what I'm talking about, the sketchy hits that I've been seeing. And instantly, after you see him get hit, it looks like he just passes out.
Yeah.
He just falls over.
Yeah, his whole body went limp. I think that he might have went unconscious during that hit.
Mm-hmm. Another thing about the Battlehawks that I did see is there's the defensive back Hill. He made 2 picks, or got 2 picks for the year now, and both of them were in that game.
Yeah, I seen that. I had that exact thing in my my notes. Lavert Hill for the Battlehawks.
Well, I'm glad you got the first name. I didn't.
Hey, you're special, Lavert Hill.
Yeah. Battlehawks defense is looking good though, because there's another defensive back, Elijah Hamilton. He made a great pass deflection, and man, it seemed like he had to reach for that. Like he jumped over dude's back and had to reach to the side to get it away from him.
Yeah.
And he hit it a good distance too.
Yeah, I mean their defense was looking good. However, again, they were facing the Vegas Vipers. And
the team that comes out looking good, but then don't finish the game.
Yeah, I mean they do come out looking good typically, but Luis Perez was not looking so hot this week as he threw 2 interceptions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To Lavert Hill. Their top rusher also, their rushing game was absolutely terrible. Their top rusher didn't even have 20 yards. I think their top rusher had 19, and their second one had 15 yards by the end of the game.
Wow, that's crazy. Not even 20.
Yeah, not even 20. So the quarterback wasn't looking hot.
You want to hear something else that's crazy though? Tell me, how do you get blocked into a sack?
Ooh.
I don't know if you saw this during the game.
I don't think I did.
There's a defensive lineman for the Battlehawks. He was getting blocked. Well, he was able to turn, and I guess the offensive lineman just was still blocking and blocked the defender into the quarterback. So the quarterback fell, and they kind of has a sack. So I was like, interesting how you do that.
Yep, that's friendly fire.
It's like, I got your back, but I don't got your back. Like, why weren't you paying attention?
And in case by the way we talked about that game, you guys didn't get it, the Vipers scored 6. St. Louis Battlehawks scored 29. So,
yeah. Speaking about the score, though, Battlehawks had complete control over that game. Honestly, up into the 4th, where the Vipers did finally score, but still, even after that, they had complete control.
It seems like the Vegas' coach might disagree with you and say that the referees had control, because he seemed to be very, very frustrated with the refs during that game.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those.
And let's just be honest, man. I mean, there's some things you can be mad at, but your team just sucks.
Sometimes you got to live with it, just like the Guardians. I mean, they're living with it.
Speaking of teams that have been sucking,
No, here we go.
We're on to your guys who have finally turned it around for another dub.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Like,
Kind of.
let me just be honest here. The Bulls really wouldn't have won that game if it wasn't for the Renegades kicker to miss that kick to tie the game. Because if that was to happen, I guarantee you that they would have went and probably stopped the Bulls. And honestly, I just think that the only reason they won was because of that missed kick. But in early of the game, though, you know, the Bulls did get a strip sack and returned it for a touchdown, though. So I was like, you know, excited about that. I was like, okay, look at us go.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have too many notes necessarily for the Brahmas, but one of the main things I had was John Parker Romo. Wow. Because he holds the longest kick in the league so far this season for 57 yards, but he's also 10 for 11. We've seen a lot of kickers get out there and miss kicks, and he's getting the job done. He was 3 for 3 in the last game. And like you was talking about, that fumble recovery for the touchdown, that was done by linebacker Jordan Williams, who was, I guess, deemed player of the week.
No, yeah?
Yep, and I'm not necessarily sure exactly how official that was, but I seen it on the internet.
Well,
so somebody considered him the defensive player of the week. But it was because he had 14 tackles, 3 for a loss, and he had that fumble recovery and the scoop for the touchdown.
Well, since we're talking about, you know, like weekly, you know, awards are basically that. Well, there was also this catch that happened during the game. And people were saying it should be catch of the year. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's, you know, during the Renegades and Brahma Bulls game where Luwan Winningham, he made a spectacular catch. Dude literally just planted his feet and like lunged and stretched out and caught the ball. You guys will see the video down below as you would see the catch that we're talking about. And that's the catch that they are talking about making catch of the year. So I honestly agree with it. And as you know, me being the Bulls fan, I'm actually agreeing with this catch as the Renegades receiver making.
I don't smell any bias.
Right. But speaking of Lawan, I got a little side notes about him. He was, I heard, with Jacksonville's training camp before.
Okay.
So, as in Jacksonville Jaguars. And then also another, like, side note, it's a little funny note. People were asking, like, dude, how'd you see the ball? Like, how could you catch that? And he was like, well, I just got some new contacts and they had to get renewed. So I was like, okay. And then he was also talking about, you know, the quarterback, you know, making a great spot for it. So, but I just had to throw that in there talking about the contacts, you know. Clearly, as you know, Justin wore glasses before, but now he's in contacts, so.
Speaking of, I need to get my new ones in soon. But we've been talking about your team. Let's go ahead and jump onto the other side of the ball for the Renegades. They rotated in this game through Drew Plitt and Kyle Sloter, and then I don't know if you've heard this or not, but they just recently decided, nah, Kyle Sloter ain't it, and they dropped him. They threw him off a cliff somewhere.
No,
he's gone.
I didn't even know that.
Team. He's
wow.
in the XFL.
Really?
Yep.
I'm sure somebody will pick him up.
He's going to be on his couch watching the XFL.
Are you listening, Guardians?
Sunday.
A good, decent quarterback is available.
Well, he got dropped for a reason.
Dude can sling the ball, though. I can say that. Because there was a play where Renegades wide receiver Peyton, he went down to catch a deep ball. And honestly, I pray, like, all praise to this dude, because when he caught it, he got blindside hit.
Jeez.
Yeah, he got blindside hit and still hung on to it.
Okay.
I was like, there are very few wide receivers that would actually do that.
Yeah.
Honestly. But, like, you know, these guys are out here, you know, living the dream again, so they're going to show out and, you know, try to make it big again. So they're going to do all they can, and honestly, I give you praise, dude. Way to hang on to the ball.
All right, now I got a little bit more news to go along with them dropping Kyle Sloter.
No, yeah?
And since you didn't know about that, I almost guarantee you haven't heard about this. The XFL, to my knowledge, has had its very first trade between teams.
No, I haven't heard about that either. What's the trade?
Yeah, okay. So, the Renegades traded one of their linebackers that they had dropped at the start of the season and picked up later for depth because of injuries and stuff like that. But he hasn't played a single play for them. So they traded him to the Vegas Vipers for Luis Perez.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's a good trade or not, though.
Hey, I mean, a linebacker that they wasn't using for a quarterback that they could use sounds like a decent one to make. Luis Perez doesn't look bad if he's not throwing picks.
I do also want to make a side note, though, that Brahma Bulls still got the dub. But next time they should put in Jack Cohen instead of the last quarterback they just had because he did not do good at all. So, go Bulls.
I like it.
What's our next game, Justin?
We're going to go ahead and go into the Houston Roughnecks versus the DC Defenders.
To be fair, I would be more excited about this game, but I jinxed it last week because I thought they were both going to go to this game undefeated. And, well, the Roughnecks lost last week.
Hey, they could have been tied again. They could have been tied again, and it would have been 5-1 and 5-1.
Yeah,
but nope.
Could have.
Nope. Maybe the Houston Roughnecks was not as good as what we thought, dude. Because the past 2 weeks, the wheels are falling off the wagon, and the check engine light's coming on.
Yeah, they're starting to, I don't know what it is, but their mojo is starting to go away. The team as a whole just don't seem to be clicking anymore.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on. I mean, we seen Brandon Silvers, who's been a pretty decent standard quarterback. We've talked about him in past episodes about how he was good getting benched.
Yeah, so I didn't know if he got hurt or if he got benched. I seen they were switching a little bit.
As far as I know, he was just benched, and then Cole McDonald, for the most part, took over for him. I mean, he had a pretty decent game too, and he now owns a record.
Yeah.
Not necessarily him, but he's a part of it because he was the longest. He was a part of the longest receiving touchdown in the XFL history to this date for this season.
Are we talking about an 85-yard receiving touchdown?
We're talking about an 85-yard receiving touchdown.
Are we talking about Dante Burnett?
I would say we're talking about Deontay Burnett, but you might be right. I don't know.
Sorry if we got your name mixed up, but hey, last name's perfect. But no, yeah, that was a crazy play. Yeah, I got it down here in my notes that I honestly thought with that touchdown it was going to put more hype in the Roughnecks, but it just didn't seem to click as the Roughnecks just lost back-to-back games now, and they lost to the Defenders 27-37.
Yeah, they did.
That might have been 26-37. I might have fat-fingered that. My bad.
And we was talking about Jordan Ta'amu a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And how we seen that he was also kind of one of those quarterbacks that's a rush heavy kind of guy. We seen him throw for over 240 yards this game.
That'd probably, I'd say, be one of his best stats so far.
Yeah, I mean, I'd definitely say so in the air for sure. And to go along
honestly,
with that,
well, go ahead, because you might be saying the same thing I'm about to say. So,
are you about to talk about Lucky Jackson?
Am I? In my eyes, that dude's player of the game.
I could definitely agree with that. He went out there. Yeah, he was a stud.
Yeah, Lucky Jackson went 5 for 136 yards and got a touchdown. But speaking of running, this blows my mind because Okay, so we're going to have a picture pop up here. And so you guys know how we've been talking about Borghi, the running back.
Yep.
Max Borghi. So when he scored a touchdown, they brought up his picture that we're all about to see. And that, oh my God, dude. How we kept joking about he's Christian McCaffrey under a helmet. When I tell you that's his twin, bro, that's him.
That's not a twin,
You can't
man.
unsee it. You cannot unsee that. That is Christian McCaffrey wearing the same jersey number as well. And oh my God, dude! Like just realizing all that after seeing it,
something's a little suspicious there.
Oh man,
Rock, what are you doing?
He's like, they want to play on the off season, so. Oh man. So, but honestly, that's all I got for the Roughnecks and Defenders game. You got any little side notes for him?
Real quick before we move on, since we started talking about rushing, Abram Smith also had a pretty good game again. He rushed just under 100 yards and got a little touchdown in there with a couple of catches too. So, I mean, he's a good little running back for their team that we keep seeing pop up in highlight reels and stuff every week.
Yeah, I do feel like the Defenders found their consistent players. You know, Lucky Jackson, Abram Smith, Jordan Teamu. So I feel like, you know, you got your 3-star players right there. I mean, granted, the whole team is good, honestly. But, you know, that's who you mainly hear a lot. So, honestly, Defenders are now 6-0, so who's going to stop them?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Something I do want to ask you because I've been seeing a lot of people do their own kind of power rankings. As far as top 3 go, in order, what's your list?
Top 3, honestly, I mean, it's just being stats-wise and who has a better team-wise. It's definitely going to be the Defenders, Roughnecks, and Sea Dragons.
Okay, and see, you put Roughnecks at 2. That's where I would, I would.
As of right now, I mean,
I would kind of put them at 2.
As team-wise, so that means like their records as well.
A lot of
Granted,
people,
they just now are falling off the wheel, so.
They are, but a lot of people seem to think that they're going to keep falling off because they got them already down to 3.
And I mean, they could.
And they got the Seattle Sea Dragons and Ben DiNucci with his 54 rushing yards at number 2 in the power rankings.
I mean, that most likely could happen, but, you know, I also could see... I mean, heck, the Sea Dragons took down the Roughnecks. Why can't they take down the Defenders?
That's fair.
I mean, I feel like the Sea Dragons are on the come-up, so...
It's very possible, as long as Ben DiNucci starts throwing more than he runs.
Yep. And now, after all that XFL stuff, I'm happy to tell you guys that we are starting our NFL videos here shortly, so make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel.
And make sure you follow, like, and comment under our videos. No, what?
Y'all know what to do. Keep balling.